For more on Game 3 of the UAAP Finals, kasama natin ngayon ang basketball vlogger na si Adrian B. Hello, welcome to The Score. Okay, so mukhang masaya ka today dahil nagkatotoo ang prediction mo, FEU in 3.
Yep.
So ano bang nakita mo doon? Bakit mo nasabi na FEU nga mananalo this season?
I just wanted to see FEU bounce back from last season. They won game 1 and then they lost 2 games back to back. I just felt na having gone through that sort of experience and coming back with a different style na hindi lang si Tolomia, hindi lang si Bello yung center ng team nila. Everyone was getting touches, everyone was getting involved. I just felt na they had a good chance to sort of make up for what happened last season. Of course, UST was a very talented team. We saw that, Kevin Ferrer by himself can really swing a game and, put the Tigers on top. But in the end, I just felt na mas versatile yung Tamaraws. They have more weapons. I just felt na learning from last season, they'll be able to pull this off. And they did. So congrats sa mga Tamaraws.
Okay, so take us through the game. What happened exactly from first quarter to fourth quarter?
Well, I think FEU was a bit nervous at the start of the game kasi alam mo, having lost game 2 again, parang I think it sort of shook them a bit. So they were a little nervous to start the game. But, with UST pressing them, they were kind of nervous, but then they held their ground. Then, of course, Mac Bello, the finals MVP, really took charge of the game. So having him take charge and then being able to sort of counter-punch in the fourth quarter after nag-big run yung UST, and then having Pogoy and Tolomia also contribute in that last quarter, that really shows na 3 guys going against the great performance of Ed Dakiwag, but he was on his own. So 3 versus 1, FEU was able to get the win.
Do you think this was a match of FEU's bench versus the starting 5 of USC? Do you think it went down to that na mas lamang yung depth ng FEU squad?
I think at the start, ganun yung iniisip ng mga analysts like myself. But I think in this game, we really wanted to see Bello, Tolomia, and Pogoy, their 3 stars, step up. Because in the previous game, medyo nag-meltdown yung FEU. All 3 of them were missing shots. They missed, I think, their last 12 shots in the fourth quarter. So just seeing them being able to step up at the end of this game, see that they had that will within them to really bounce back from what happened. That's what FEU did, and that's how they were able to win.
One controversial statistic here, Kevin Ferrer with just 6 points. And I remember that his 6th point was from a free throw. Tell us how FEU shut him down.
But FEU really saw siguro what happened in game 2, and they're like, okay, let's have anyone but Ferrer beat us. So whenever he got the ball, they tried to double team him. Coach Nash said na nagkamali talaga siya na he was trying to put smaller defenders on him. So this time, Pogoy was there, Bello was there, less of Denison and Arong and other guys like that. So that really shackled him. He wasn't able to give the ball up when he was double teamed. They did the same to Kareem Abdul after he had a hot start, and they basically said to Ed Dakiwag and Louis Vigil, kayo naman, you try to beat us. Dakiwag had a big game. Vigil had some some good baskets in the fourth quarter. But overall, like we said, they didn't have the depth to really overcome that disadvantage.
Why do you think wasn't it enough? Like we had Kareem Abdul in the first quarter, in the first half, step up. Second half was Ed Dakiwag. Why weren't these 2 enough?
I think just going back to FEU, they have 3 guys all clicking at the same time. If you look at UST through the finals, game 1, Kareem Abdul had a big game, but not a lot of other people were able to contribute. Game 2, it was all Kevin Ferrer. Ngayon, Ed Dakiwag by himself. FEU really made it a point to say na parang one guy can have a big game, but the other 2 cannot. And that's how they were able to do it.
Okay, so speaking of which, we talked about the Kevin Ferrer shutdown. Another guy from FEU who had impeccable defense was Mac Bello.
Right.
And we're talking about him. We usually talk about his shooting. He had 23 big points. But talk about his defense. How important and crucial was that for this game?
It's very important because if you look at him last season, he was the go-to guy on offense. Siyempre, if you're always the guy on offense scoring the ball, you can't have that much energy to devote defensively. But this season, because they're playing less minutes, more guys are hitting the court and getting touches, Bello doesn't have to do that much. So in a sense, na-rest siya throughout the elimination round so that once the finals, they came to a point na parang, Bello, you have to do a lot for us in this game 3. He was able to muster up the energy to do exactly that.
Talk about Roger Pugoy's crunch time performance. He wasn't performing well after his cramps in game 2. Do you think, what did it take for him to step up during the last parts of game 3?
Siguro just coming back from the hurdle of missing 3 big 3-point attempts, if I'm not mistaken, in the last part of Game 2, they tried running some plays for him to get him a 3-point shot, but given that he was coming off from cramp, siguro he doesn't have the leg strength back at that moment. But I mean, for me personally, if he didn't have the cramps in Game 2, if he had a better start in Game 3, I would have picked him also as like a Finals MVP candidate because in this game, he had 7 points in the fourth quarter. It's more than Bello, that's more than Tolomia, so he was really big in that last quarter.
What do you think could have UST done to win this game? If, you give them another game, what do you think would they have done better?
I think they probably would want to sort of spread the offense around because in these 3 finals games, they basically took what the FU defense gave them. So if it's Ferrer that is allowed to get hot, sige, okay na, content na sila doon. If it's the Kiwag who's allowed to get hot, content na sila doon. They might sort of want to make it a better point, like what FU did to get their 3 stars involved, sort of spread the ball around. Noticeable for me, wala si John Sheriff in a lot of times in this final series. He's the guy who is known as their distributor in the elimination round. So the fact na his role was lessened and they were basically going with set plays for specific people sort of says to me na parang they were sort of they had a specific game plan geared around 1 or 2 players and they weren't really that conscious of trying to spread the wealth.
But another guy who was crucial for the USC Tigers was Marvin Lee.
Yeah.
He had 2 big threes at crucial moments. Did you expect him to play this well in this Game 3?
I think personally, siguro he has yung backstory kasi niya, he was an FEU baby Tam and he wanted to stay with FEU. They told him, you could come join FEU but we're gonna put you on Team B for a while. And he was like, ayoko yun, I wanna try, play from the start. So he went to another school and the only school he went to was UST and kinuha siya kaagad. So I'm sure na he had that sort of motivation to sort of stick it to his old team.
Meron pala siyang hugot.
No.
Okay, so do you think this win, this championship win was orchestrated by Coach Nash Rosella? Do you think that, it went down to that, to the coaching styles of the two?
For me, for Coach Nash naman, the fact that he went away from the Bello and Tolomia-centric offense of last season into sort of widespread system where everyone can get his touches, I think that really is what made the difference in the series because it's so easy na if you have 2-star players sabihin na sila na lang gagawa ng lahat because nagawa naman nila before, naka-finals naman tayo before. But to say na parang, okay, I think we really need to focus on teamwork, on making sure everyone's involved, that takes a lot of guts and to sort of install a system na the ball will move around a lot. So for me, that's a lot of kudos to Coach Nash.
Lots of things that they learned from the past season. What do you think is going to happen to both FEU and UST now that they have their main stars graduating this year? Kevin Ferrer, Karim Abdul, at the Kiwag for UST. For FEU, it's Mike Tolomia, Roger Pagoy, Bello Escoto, and Tamsi. What do you think is going to happen to these 2 teams?
Yun mahirap because especially for UST, they lost their big 3 players and this is a team that had a very small rotation. So for me, UST really needs to find another center to replace Abdul and then see if their guards, like as you mentioned, Marvin Lee, if he is able to handle the offensive load. For FEU naman, the fact na they have a specific system in place where the ball is shared by everyone, it's more it's easier to project a future where they plug in some players, they make a few key recruits, they can plug them in and they'll still be able to roll. But the question is, will they be able to get those recruits?
Definitely a lot of questions for next season. Thank you so much, Adrian D. What an impeccable season. Great season for the past 2 years. So also with the NCAA, we're definitely looking forward to next year. But for now, volleyball.